Get free gift cards, PayPal, and much more with feature points.
Hey, what's up guys, Commander Alex here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new hero coming to Vainglory, Flicker. So I'm going to be going through all his abilities, talking about what you might want to build on him, and kind of just giving you his play style. So I guess let's hop into things here with just explaining his abilities. His heroic perk is Willow Whisper, and Willow Whisper is honestly probably his bread and butter, because basically what it means is if he's in a bush for more than 2 seconds, he disappears, he goes invisible, and if he leaves that bush, he will stay invisible for 3 seconds. So it's really great for juking people, it's really great for ambushing people, and something that many people don't know, you can actually back while invisible, which seems completely broken, but that's just me. Anyway, Binding Light is his A. Flicker commands his various swarm or target location for 2 seconds, so he kind of just controls this area for 2 seconds. It's a very small area, but it's, you know, you can catch a couple enemy heroes in it if you're really good. And after 2 seconds, you then root that area, which is really, really strong. So basically what this is it's a very good CC if you can land it, but even if you can't, it's decent damage because it does damage the entire time, and it's great zoning. So in tight little areas, you can use this to zone off enemies where either they're going to have to take a route or they're going to have to stand and wait for it to go. So it's very strong in choke points. His B is Fairy Dust, which is probably his strongest ability in terms of just straight CC and damage and range, and just it's very, very good. So Fairy Dust basically creates this AoE ring around you. So think of, I'm trying to think, it's a little bit smaller than like a Ardent Gauntlet. You'll see it in a second, but basically what happens is when you use that, you slow everyone in the area. When it's at rank 5 for 70%, by the way, you deal tick damage to them, and then if they stay in it for 3 seconds, then you deal burst damage to them. It's so good in team fights. Like if you can get into the back line and then just get this on all 3 enemies, you're giving everyone a 70% slow, so no one can run away from you, and you're just chewing through their health. Like it's actually super, super strong in team fights. And then Mooncloak is his ultimate, which is again one of his kind of signature things. After 1 second, Flicker and his allies go invisible, and yeah, the only way that you can be revealed is by using an ability, by attacking, or by taking damage. And it does increase by 1 second at each level. It also has a decrease in cooldown, and energy stays the same at all levels. So this is probably something you're not going to want to max, but your A and B, I would definitely recommend maxing. So with that, let's get into the game. I'm going to show you all of his abilities, and then we'll talk about kind of play style and what you might want to build. All right, get in here. So, oops, I don't want to bump the microphone. First off, let's get all this stuff going here. I want to level up so that I can show you guys everything as easily as possible. There we go. And just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to get a bunch of cooldown reduction and kind of just show you guys how he works here. So as far as what you're going to want to max, I would say max your B first. Some people might say max your A first, but I would say max your B first. Then max your A, and then leave your ultimate at 2 points. You can go other routes, but I feel like this is probably the most CC and the most damage that you can get out of him, which is really what you're looking for because he is a support champion. So first off, here's his B. You see it's an AoE range, and then you see the explosion coming. It does a good deal of damage. Like, look at this. I have no built CP. I am level 12, obviously, but I have no CP built. And I can almost one-shot those guys. So it's a pretty strong ability, and the AoE slow is really, really useful. Now we can take a look at his B, which we'll see if it works. Yeah, it's going to make the minions move. I'm trying to think if I drop it like that. Will that kill him? You guys almost saw it there. Basically, it only works in heroes, but basically it takes 2 seconds. After 2 seconds, it roots them, and it does deal damage over time in that area. So, you know, you can use it for some poke if you're playing him in a siege comp or something like that. It's not completely useless. See his run animation. It looks really cool. I love his run animation. And then finally here, nope, don't want to be behind the tree. Finally here, we have his ultimate. Throws it up, and he goes invisible. Zooming around here. Sorry about the poor network connection. And also, something interesting is if you go into a bush with your ultimate, you can actually get your passive up as well. So you can, use your ultimate to get way deep into enemy lines and then go into a bush, get invisible, and you will never become visible between those two things happening. Go invisible again, and you kind of just become a cloud. It's pretty cool. So that is all of his abilities and how they work. Now let's head down to the jungle shop here, and I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown of what you might want to think about building on him. Obviously, different games, different scenarios. If you're playing him CP jungle, you're going to build differently than if you're playing him as a roam support. It all just depends on your scenario. So I guess first things, start off with boots. If you're going for a support role, you're going to be building war treads almost every single time with him. I would say like 99% of the time, this is what you're going to want to do. If you're going for more of a carry role, you can go Halcyon Chargers. But again, I would definitely recommend going with the War Treads because it really makes your ultimate so much more deadly. If you can make everyone invisible and boots them into the enemy team, it's very good. As far as other things on this page, you're definitely going to want to get the contraption. I like getting it as my first or second item, and the reason for this is that you can scout to places that your team normally wouldn't be able to, which means that you can get vision in places that your team normally wouldn't be able to. So that's why contraption is good for the mines, but also the flares allow you to check for mines so that you don't go invisible but then get spotted by a mine. So it's one of those things where it doesn't seem like it would be super necessary, but it is. It's like his bread and butter item, all right? So that's what you're definitely going to want to be looking at. In terms of defensive items, you can go for Crucible, Fountain, Atlas. All of these are going to be fine items on him. As far as the items that I particularly like, I think Atlas is really strong on him because if you look at his B, let me kind of show this to you. Oh, well, let's get visible here. All right, so I'm going to pop my B and then I'm going to pop Atlas. Look at the ranges, how those sync up. So you have a 70% slow in that circle, and then you can also pop Atlas, which is going to slow everyone's attacks within that circle. So I really think that Atlas is going to be good on him. Now, obviously, there's situations where Atlas just is a useless item, right? If you're going against a full CP comp, don't build Atlas. But if there is a scenario where you're like 50-50 on it, I would definitely go for it because of its synergy with his B. It's just very, very strong, and that 70% slow is actually deadly enough that they won't be able to escape the Atlas. So they'll either have to reflex block it, or they're going to have to take a bunch of burst damage, a attack speed reduction, just all sorts of crap. Crucible and Fountain are both great items to pick up. If you're going support, definitely get Fountain, and if you need to, you can get Crucible. But honestly, on him, it's not as necessary because he's a support, but he has his built-in CC, and he doesn't really need that much else. So I would actually consider going for some more crystal power. So these are kind of like the two support items that I would definitely go for. And then for your 1 CP item that you're definitely going to get, I would definitely go for Frostborn or Eve. I would probably prioritize Frostborn, but it's kind of up to you. And the Eve is optional between either getting a Crucible, so you can either have a final build that looks something like this, or you can sell that. Oops, sorry about that. And you can have a final build that looks something like this. The reason that this is because you actually do quite a bit of CP damage, so the Eve is actually really nice for healing you up. And the Frostburn has a really kind of interesting interaction. So first off, it does stack with the slow on this, so you can just pretty much bring people to a halt with that. Like the Frostburn slow on top of the fact that has an AoE 70% slow is just completely deadly. And then it also adds a slow to your A. And the interesting thing about that is that because your A is so hard to land, it has a 2-second delay on it. It's very small. Like, it's not something that you're going to land in most team fights unless people are really being stupid and not looking out for it. If you add that slow to it, it becomes much easier to land. So that's why I really like going for Frostburn. So, this is probably like a little bit more carry-oriented support build. And this is more of a more traditional keep your team alive, do some CC support build. But that's about it. His playstyle is obviously, he really likes to scout. He can get to places where his team can't. And yeah, he's just kind of an annoyance for the enemy team. He can deal some AoE CC. He can deal some AoE damage. He can be super slippery. he's just really annoying to play against, and honestly that's his strong suit. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully this gave you guys kind of just a brief overview of what Flicker is and kind of what you should be doing on him, and hopefully this will help you when you get him coming to the game pretty soon. I don't know when he's actually going to be released. I don't know when the next update is, but he's pretty much done on PvE, which means that he should be coming pretty soon. So be hyped for that, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. See ya.